What's up, everyone? Welcome into the All 22 NFL Show, the official channel of the All 22 Fantasy Football platform. It's the only fantasy football game with full 53-man rosters, including offensive linemen, where you get to choose personnel packages and have access to PFF grading and advanced stats to make decisions each week. To learn more and sign up, go to all-22.com. And everybody, I am Chris Lombardi, and I'm joined by Ray Cotto. And today we are going to be doing a film review of the top cornerbacks of the 2026 NFL draft class. Ray, I am excited to be doing this with you. And as always, we always say before the episode, this is not a highlight film. We will be breaking down the trends of all of these best players so that when you go to draft them in all 22, when your favorite NFL team drafts one of these guys, you know what to expect. And Ray, you are going to be starting it off for us with Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. Jermod McCoy is a junior, 6 feet tall, 193 pounds. He's 20 years old, did not play in 2025, had 6 career interceptions. Ray, are you excited to talk about this guy?
I can't wait to talk about Jermod McCoy. So we like to stick to a rule of 5 plays in 5 minutes or so per player. I'm going to completely just right up front. That's not going to happen. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can, but I'm definitely not in 5 play mode with this guy. He deserves more. And without further ado, I think we should just get right into it because I can't wait any longer. So you see here, identified by the arrow, Jermod McCoy, number 3, bottom of your screen, lined up and off, man. And we're just going to let it run here. And I just want to focus on one thing in particular on this play. And that's the ability to just kind of drive downhill. So looked a little bit at the top of that route as if, he might have hesitated a bit, but for context, this is 3rd and 21. So he's going to take an extra tick to confirm that the receiver is going to go back to the football, that it is in fact a comeback route, because he just doesn't want to give up that long pass for the first down. So that's fine. But once he triggers downhill, I mean, he drives, it's top notch, just sort of, springing the legs to drive downhill, make a break on the pass. So they don't even get half the yardage back. They're still backed up. It's a great play on the ball by Jermod McCoy.
Dude, that was an 8-yard comeback. The comeback on that route was 8 yards.
Yeah. And he still came back far enough to break it up. So again, that's some deep downhill driving right there. Next play, he's actually at the bottom of our screen here. And you know what, Chris? I'm going to get rid of you for this one because we're in the way.
Do it.
So here we go. Yeah. So bottom of your screen, we're in press coverage here. And I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but just does a great job with his inside hand. It just kind of suffocates the receiver downfield. There's nowhere to go with that football. Nice and patient, good slide. And he's just step for step, hip to hip the whole way downfield. And there's nowhere to fit this football at all. He's on an island. And I mean, the receiver is the one who's in dire straits, not him. So, and this is Alabama we're talking about here. So really effective in press man, as we see here. Defending the deep pass downfield, very comfortable, no panic. He's in phase the entire time. Really good use of his inside hand and press. And we're going to have another press rep here. And this might be my favorite of all time, not for the result. Chris, watch his outside foot. Okay. Watch that left foot, his outside foot here, right at the stop. That little pier step right there at the start to get the feet moving, get squared up, get your hands ready in position. And then again, he's going to take that stab with that inside hand. Ball's not even released by the quarterback yet. He's already looking back to the football just as the receiver is. He's chest to chest in perfect position for this pass. Goes up for the interception. Acceleration to run it almost all the way back. But huge play, key play down at the goal line. But again, it's the little things, okay? It's like slow feet don't eat and dead feet get beat. That little pier step right at the snap squares up your body, gets your feet moving, all right? So you're in an athletic position, and then he can throw that inside hand stab, as you see here at the goal line, to cut off any potential inside movement from the receiver. And then once he feels that sort of vertical release from the receiver, he gets chest to chest. He's looking back to the football. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. That's exactly how you teach it. And to put it into practice like that, that's a beautiful rep right there. I love the footwork. I love the pier step. I love the feel that he has in press. And you're going to notice this a lot. We're on play 4. They leave him in press a lot. They are totally comfortable just telling McCoy, go ahead, get in his face. You do you got this. You just chase whoever the number one receiver is around the field, and we'll work the rest of the defense around you. So I'm going to show you press coverage here where perhaps the technique isn't so great, right? And at the snap here, so he kind of wrong hands it, and it just, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter. Like, are you kidding me? Look at the hips. Look at the hips. That was like three hip flips in one rep. Again, so right at the start here, and just watch. All right, outside, nope. Inside, nope. Back outside. Okay, fine. And I'm going to ride you. There's nowhere to go. The ball obviously doesn't go his way, but I mean, look at that is textbook. I mean, you're either born with hips like that or you're not. I mean, the ability to just sort of ride with the receiver and flip and turn and run all the way downfield and not give up an ounce of separation is top notch. But enough about press coverage. We've seen enough of that already. And so we're going to go ahead here and just have a little bit off man here. And okay, yeah, not really much of a tackler there. Kind of just throws his body and just kind of gets run over, but gets the job done out of bounds. There's a few plays here. And again, I tried to be as brief as I could because I'm trying to stick to our time mandate, even though I'm clearly blowing by that. He does a good job taking on blocks, but he's not much of a tackler. This is just what you're going to get, which is most cornerbacks. You just kind of throw your body in there. You kind of use the sideline to your advantage. You throw a shoulder and, hey, that's not what we're paying you for. But just another example, he's an ankle biter. He gets hurdled. It's going to happen. I think you live with this, right? He's a corner. This is not his game. But just to give you an idea of what you're getting, don't expect much in terms of physicality in the run game. We have some other names later on in this episode that may fit that bill a little more than Jermod McCoy. But yeah, there you have it. So we're going to stick with the off coverage theme here and just the crossover run again to kind of come back to the football. So obviously he's not targeted yet again, but right here, just mirroring the receiver's break. I mean, look at this. It's a straight. They could be on a string, and there's nowhere to go with that football if it were to go to that receiver. He's driving on the ball, and he's right there. He's hip to hip with that receiver. So in off coverage, he's still, again, similar to that first play we saw. He has the ability to transition from a crossover run, plant and drive downhill and make plays on the football. This isn't just an athletic, just kind of fluid hip press coverage, run with you downfield type of player. He has that downhill ability as well. This might be the last play, I think, and so we're going to go to press again. And just to show you, again, some of the next level stuff, he misses, right? He gives up a catch, but he still recovers to make the tackle. And I think we're going to see it from the other angle. But if you think about it, first off, this is Ryan Williams, who many project as a first-round receiver in the NFL in the 2027 draft class. So if you're going to be manned up in press for an entire afternoon, you're going to give up some catches. But right here, he misses, right? He falls for the outside fake. His hips are locked. But the recovery here, typically you're expecting this number 4 to have to come in and make this tackle as the ball is released, because typically when you're in that position, you're not going to catch up to, especially Ryan Williams. You're not catching up to that player. But no, he flips the hips, still quick enough, and recovers to catch up, and he makes a tackle. Not the middle defender here, not the safety here coming downhill. He's the one who makes a tackle. So he has that recovery as well. You're going to see it from this angle. And if I could pause it right at the exact moment, he's already, I mean, think about how badly he was beat right at the snap, and he's already within a half yard of the receiver here and closing and able to make the tackle to minimize the damage. So again, this isn't perfect, perfect technique. This isn't a perfect prospect, but when he gets beat, as all corners do, he has that recovery, speed, quickness, and drive, so that those windows are tight and they're only open but for so long, if at all, over the course of one of his reps. So honestly, Jermod McCoy, I could do a 3-hour episode on this player. I wish I could just throw every single rep in here and just talk about it, because I think far and away, if not for his injury, he would be the number 1 corner in this class, and probably he would be in the conversation for the top overall defender in this class for my money. I think his 2024 tape, just down to down, game to game, is absolutely top notch. We'll talk about maybe how high I have him compared to some of the other corners in recent years of the All-22 era. But spoiler alert, he's up there. Obviously, the question is going to be the knee, how he responds to it. He had his pro day and everything, and he tested really well. But how can he really plan and drive? And when he's kind of in those uncomfortable positions, does he trust that knee just yet? How's he going to recover? Outside of that, this is one hell of a prospect who would be going in the top 5 of the draft for sure.
Oof. So just to give people some context, right? After that injury, 4.38 40-yard dash, 38-inch vert, and a 10.7 broad jump. So there is no question that he looks pretty healthy, right? Like this guy is going to be ready by next season. And I think teams are going to be excited to know that if they draft this guy, he will be there to play for them. But we'll talk about that later. Ray, I am very excited to talk about the next guy we have up. We have my boy. Ray, you always say, Chris, this is your boy. No. D'Angelo Pons is my boy, Ray. He is 5'9", 173 pounds. He's basically my size when I played in college.
He's bigger than you.
He's not bigger than me. That's the crazy part. Like usually they are. He is not bigger than me. 22 years old. What's that?
You're not 5'9". You're not 5'9".
Chill. Just about. He's a junior, 5'9", 173 pounds, 22 years old, played 41 collegiate games, 778 snaps last year with an 89.9 overall PFF grade with 7 career interceptions. And Ray, guess what? 43.5-inch vert, Ray. 43.5-inch vert. Guys, I am so excited to talk about D'Angelo Pons. So this is the game against Miami. I don't know if I've seen a better overall game of college cornerback play as I did Pons in this game. So I'm just going to kind of be gushing the whole time. So I apologize in advance. But Ray, let's just start it off, right? So what is your biggest concern if you have a corner that's 5'9", 173 pounds?
Physicality, getting boxed out.
Can he tackle? Let's watch and see. So here he is lined up at the top. You have the arrow pointing. We're going to come down, right? This wasn't a designed blitz. He took his 3 steps backwards. Guess what? He's coming downhill, and he's got an eye for murder, Ray. Let's see. That's a big back. That's a good tackle. That is a good tackle, Ray. It really does. Shades of me, man. Shades of me. That's all I'm going to say there.
Oh, my gosh. I feel like you're coming at me like I talked bad about D'Angelo Pons or something. I only talk bad about you.
Somebody. So. But look at this. Just kind of forms him up, right? Number 4 is like, oh, wait. I should be able to run this guy right over. That's a great form tackle, man. This is like, when I watch football on Sunday, this is what I'm asking for, is a guy that can tackle like this. So that's play number 1. We're going to start off right there. We're going to see from the other angle too, right? Just because why not, right? Let's just enjoy it. Look at that, man. That's perfect, right? You're squaring him up. You drive. You go through, head across his chest. But now I'm just going to show you, right? It looks like he's going into his zone, but he's going to turn into more of like a man look. Nope, staying in zone. You talked about hip flips with McCoy, right? Watch how freaking smooth his hips are on this, right? The receiver is trying to work towards the sideline, giving himself a little bit of space, right? Pons is in that cover 3 kind of squat and just kind of glide open look, but he starts to give himself depth, right? He starts to go further towards those numbers so that the receiver doesn't get behind him in his blind spot. He keeps him there. And then once he feels that he's being threatened, that the receiver is going outside of him, that he can't see him perfectly, he opens his hips. And guess what? He was turning them to run upfield, but the receiver breaks down. Watch how quick Pons recovers that and is driving back to the ball already, right? The quarterback's not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not throwing the ball there when the quarterback is that tied up. Come on.
Carson Beck might, but yeah.
Carson Beck might. It's honestly beautiful. So I want to just show you another kind of look at his footwork. Now he is in man. He's in kind of a press man look. And let's see what he does. So he's backpedaling, right? He's literally has no cushion, absolutely no cushion. And he goes straight into a back pedal and he's turning. And what does he do? Once he starts getting threatened, he pushes the arm, right? He sticks him and the receiver is trying to break down and cannot get separation from Pons. Again, he's 173 pounds. Most receivers should be able to kind of throw you off. Pons is different, man. Something about him is different. Look at that. There's no separation. Quarterback tries, like you said, Carson Beck tries to get the ball in there, and it's not happening, man. He's sticky. Pons is sticky. All right, here he's saying, give me the money. I need to get paid. He's out here over the kind of boundary side, right? There's no receiver threatening, so he's lining up kind of like an outside an outside linebacker would. Let's see what he does here. Oh, it's a blitz. They sent him on a blitz, Ray. What is he going to do with it? Because guess what? It looks like a jumbo tackle, right? A third tackle or a second tackle out there on the left side, and there's only one guy threatening him. The tackle just kind of bypasses. Oh, the tackle comes down. The legitimate tackle goes to the outside and just whiffs. And another really good tackle just coming in and making a play. So 70 is going to come out here and just misses, doesn't account for the corner, and he just makes a great play. Let's keep it going. Again, showing him kind of in a press look because, again, I'm worrying about physicality when it comes to a corner at this size. Look at that. First of all, fantastic stance. You talked about it. You see that little leg movement, get your motors going, right? It's kind of like Mario Kart. The light turns from red to yellow. You start revving that engine a little bit, right? You got to rev that engine. That's what he does here. And look at him latch on, right? I'm getting physical. I'm not going to let this receiver bully me. Dude, there's no space on any of these plays, man. It's really great. So this last play that I got here for you worried me a little bit, right? Little bit, right? Just because when you're small, sometimes you could get away with some stuff. But we're going to show the stuff in the beginning, which is fantastic. So again, he's in a boundary look. He is in a zone look. He's kind of turning and opening up because he knows that he's going to get threatened deep here. He has two receivers coming at him. And when you are in a zone and two receivers are threatening your zone, you need to kind of split the difference, right? You always want to shade to the inside receiver so that you have more time. You're going to get to the inside receiver quicker. And the ball's going to get to the inside receiver quicker. So you need to make sure you can get there quicker. Whereas the outside, you're going to have a little bit of time to get there. So that's what Pons is going to do, right? He's going to try to split these two receivers here. And he sees that Beck, his eyes are on the quarterback. That's how talented this kid is. His eyes are on the quarterback and he sees that Beck is getting ready to throw the ball and is throwing it to the outside receiver. So now it's time for me to flip my hips and get there, right? But when you're small, sometimes you think you could get away with a little bit of contact more than a big guy typically would get away with. And here I think Pons gets away with a little bit too much contact. It's really close. But if you look at what I think it's a tight end does here, right? He's putting his arms out to catch the ball and Pons doesn't really go for the ball and instead tries to kind of give a shoulder. I think this is Pons going, I'm 170 pounds. This tight end's probably like 250 and I kind of need to survive, right? But in the NFL, this is probably defenseless receiver, and that's probably a penalty, right? Let's clean that up. You don't need to do that, right? Just go for the ball, get your hand in there, make a play. I'd like to see Pons maybe not try to be as physical on a play like this, but it does give me confidence that he played it as well as he did. Again, I don't think there was really a flaw in this game, but just you don't need to do that, right? Like you don't need to put somebody in harm's way. You have a good angle, right? Either get ready and wrap him up the right way or stick your hand up there and knock the ball away. But we don't want to just put a shoulder on like this, especially that's head-to-head contact right there, right? That is definitely a penalty at the next level. Just because you're 173 pounds, I don't think you're going to get away with this all the time. So I'd like to see that cleaned up a little bit. But again, this is an exciting player, man. This is a guy that I think can do anything at the corner position well. He can play man coverage. He can play off in his zone. He could come down and defend in the run. He does it all in a way that I think is truly special. Teams are just going to have to decide, if I don't have my number one corner, is it worth me taking a guy like Pons, right? Or is this just hey, we're in a winning window and this is a luxury pick and I know that this guy's going to make my team good. We're going to talk about this one a lot more, Ray. I think we're going to have a fun time talking about D'Angelo Pons.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait because the added element of the fact that he's probably a nickel-only type of player really
I didn't say all that, but we'll talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. Before we talk about all that, that's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, we'll talk about it on the back half of this episode.
All right, Ray.
But for now, I think I'm going to stick with the Tennessee Volunteers and the other cornerback for Tennessee, Colton Hood. So, Chris, what do you got?
Colton Hood, dude, redshirt sophomore, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. He's 21 years old. He played 774 snaps last year with a 79.2 PFF grade and has 3 career interceptions.
Yeah, so brief rundown here. We're going to get right into it. So recall all the discussion about Jermod McCoy, which sometimes sets an unfair baseline, but hey, different archetypes, different styles make fights. So Colton Hood, top of the screen. We're just going to jump right into it here. And what you'll notice, so again, off man here, right? They're playing him a bit different than they typically do. Watch the discipline here in zone. He doesn't immediately take the cheese and go downhill and then get beat over the top by the inside receiver coming back to the outside. So as the quarterback initiates the scramble drill and rolls out of the pocket there to the right, you see immediately in his field of view, the receiver's coming back downhill. You think he's just going to continue to drive downhill to take that away. But this guy's got good field vision. He's got butt to the sideline. He sees the route develop here from the inside and knows if he drives just right downhill here, this inside receiver is going to work back to the sideline as he follows his quarterback, and he's going to get beat over the top for 15 to 20 yards. So instead, he just passes off basically the comeback route to the hook curl defender, who's now going to mirror the quarterback's movement to the outside and pick that up. And then he kind of sits in the window just for a second until then the safety can kind of come down on that deeper route here. And then he drives down once the quarterback releases the ball to the underneath receiver. That's a fantastic job of just feeling the play develop and not, again, just sort of, taking the cheese there and then getting beat over the top, because it's real easy to just say, well, I drove downhill on the guy in front of me here, and, that wasn't my assignment. But no, he does a great job of feeling the play develop and taking away basically both options for the quarterback and minimizing the gain there. So second rep here, now we're going to go into some press man. I think he does a really good job here of just kind of riding the hip and staying with the receiver by staying in that hip pocket. So not terribly explosive, not suffocating at the line, doesn't really stick him with a good jam, but just the whole way he's just riding that hip. And by the time he kind of shucks him off for that like sharp comeback, it's already been 2 full seconds. Quarterback's got to get rid of the ball. This is a great job carrying that inside route. That's one of the big indicators you look for a corner is kind of, can you carry those routes inside? We're going to go back into off man here, and we got a little bit of an out and up. And yes, he defends it pretty darn well, but it's not quite the same as Jermod McCoy, right? Once you watch Jermod McCoy, it just looks a little different. So again, kind of close that gap here. Not an explosive kind of plant and turn there. It's kind of rounded a bit. I do think if this ball is thrown towards the back pylon, there's a chance for a touchdown here. So he does play it well. But even so, right about here, he does give up a step. So it's going to take a good throw. But in the NFL, that you're probably going to get a good throw towards that back pylon, and that could be 6. So it's good recovery, right? It's good recognition, but he doesn't completely sort of take the route away. A great throw could have gotten him there. Now, in press again, you're going to notice got a bit of outside leverage here. So last time we carried a route to the inside, it was a bit more of a sort of trail technique there, just kind of riding the hip in trail. Now we're going to see him in press just kind of stay on that top shoulder of the receiver. You see right here, he's not underneath here. He's not kind of playing that back hip. He is on top of this route. And yet again, just carrying that route inside all the way. So I really think he does a great job of just staying on top of routes. He's really technical there. Again, not terribly explosive, but uses his hands in positioning. He's not grabbing. He's not tugging. He's not pulling. There's no threat of a flag here, but yet he is mirroring the receiver the whole way to the inside. That's really good technique. He's a really sound player here. And I think we're going to wrap up with the 5th play. I'm probably actually on time this time. Just trigger downhill, does a great job taking on blocks, and he's a pretty sure tackler. Nothing crazy explosive or anything like that again, but just going to take on the block. Probably could have been a little bit harder to the outside shoulder there, but is good enough to disengage and not allow the receiver to get to the outside, to the sideline, and get any extra yards after the catch. Really sound player Colton Hood is. I think that's really just the name of the game for him, is just a really sound player who's good at everything. Sometimes really good. He's really good route recognition, really good sort of awareness in zone. just really good at everything, but he doesn't have that explosive sort of elite trait that some people look for, that sort of flash, that sexiness that you want to see in like the top half of the first round. He's not that type of player, but damn, he's good at everything. If you pair this guy with a prototype corner on the other side, you're in a really good spot in your secondary because he can do everything well for you, and you're not going to have to worry about him on Sundays. I think he's a very, very good player.
All right, Ray, next we have Mansoor Delane out of LSU, senior, 6 feet, 190 pounds, 22 years old, 623 snaps last year with a 90.5 PFF grade and 7 career interceptions. Ray, this is the guy everybody's chatting up as potentially a top 5, top 10 pick. I've seen multiple drafts, mock drafts, where they have him as top 10 picks. I'm very excited to talk about him, and I'm very excited to have our conversation after this. So let's start out with play one. It's going to be a deep shot. So here we have him at the bottom of your screen, outside receiver, and there's 2 receivers going. We're in a zone, but hey, good recovery. Way to get there. Way to go up and make a play on the ball. I slowed it down for us so we could kind of see what happens here. And just, again, good job making a play, getting there, getting back to the ball, even though, again, maybe I'd like to see closing speed a little bit more, right? Like there's a lot of separation here. If that, again, he knew he had a guy to the inside, so I think it's fine, but it could be a little tighter, and I'd like to see it maybe a little bit tighter from a guy we're talking about being a top 10 pick. But it was a good play and way to get up. It was an uncatchable ball for both of them. So this is fine. And just, again, showing it from the other angle, he tries to undercut it, doesn't necessarily make a play on the ball.
It's Cade Klubnik. Of course it was uncatchable. Come on, Chris.
That's your boy, Ray. You're taking him first overall, I heard.
Yeah, my boy.
Second play here, we have a kind of one-on-one, right? He's on the outside here. He's looking like it's zone, right? But you're going to see one receiver shoots inside, right? So now it's okay. The safety over top's going to have to go to him, which means I'm basically one-on-one with this underneath receiver. And the receiver starts to climb a bit, right? We're getting deep. Okay, now he's getting into my back shoulder, into my back pocket. So I'm starting to go a little bit deeper with him, right, which I think is the right move. But then I'm cutting across and I'm going back towards the inside. And here I just think that there's too much separation. And it's kind of the same thing I saw last play, but here it's a little bit more pronounced, right? And that's what we're showing. We're showing you trends. It's a little more pronounced where now the quarterback is kind of scrambling the other way. And, oh, wait, he kind of has a safety blanket in number 12 cutting across the screen. Mansoor Delane should be suffocating this right now. He should be suffocating it. Once that receiver went back inside, he should have closed that as quick as possible. And right here, the receiver's going, dude, I'm open. Again, Cade Klubnik does not make that throw, so no harm, no foul. Okay, third play here, we have Mansoor Delane. I actually wanted to show this one just because I thought it was super interesting, not that it really tells us much about him. But here you see him kind of man coverage, went with the receiver across the field, locked up. Hey, I'm in a tight press coverage, even though the receiver's off the ball. And the receiver's going to go straight inside. So now it's time to get on my horse and get across the screen, right? Linebacker's kind of getting in my way. Got to get around him. So again, am I able to close? So, Ray, I want your opinion on this, man. How on earth is this not a pick play? Watch what happens to him. Like,
I remember this play.
Me?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was just – they didn't call that a penalty, just by the way. They didn't call this a penalty. But hold on, I showed it from the other angle just so that we could get a better look. So the receiver, number 7 on defense, right? The receiver's by him. Watch how far out of his way he goes to knock over Delane here. And that was not called a penalty.
It's not even offensive pass interference. That's a blindside block.
It was literally blocking.
Blindside block.
Yeah, it was absurd. I just wanted to show that because it's interesting, but it also showed like I want to see a little bit better closing speed. Okay, so here we are, play number 4. Again, we're in kind of like a press man on a bigger receiver. Dude, that footwork right there, just right off the ball. We're going to show that again. Watch how patient he is. Just little steps, little steps. He's not, right? The receiver's not doing anything to make you have to make a move. Let's keep making little steps. Then he finally decides to declare outside, and I have great body positioning to make sure that nothing there is happening, to make sure that the ball is not getting to the receiver, right? Good physicality. That's perfect positioning. I really, really like this play from Delane. Here we go again. He is up top on the outside in another tight kind of press sticky coverage, and it's going to be a quick slant. So let's see what he does. Okay, so hands are up. We didn't punch yet. There's the punch. We have the outside shoulder, and we're driving, and that's what I want to see, right? I was talking about it, right? Does he have closing speed? This is a little bit easier because I can be physical. My hands are on, and I'm a 6 foot, 190-pound strong corner. So I'm just going to suffocate this route as best I can. And then just to put a hand up at the point of attack where the ball's there to knock it down, I thought it was fantastic. Okay, last play we have here is play number 6. Again, tight man coverage. And just going to be patient again, right? Okay, there's a move to the outside. What are we doing? Great job not overcommitting, right? We're sticking with it, and we're just going down the field with him. And it was thrown my way, but it didn't concern me. And I did actually have another play. So that was another just example of really good coverage. Way to just impede on the receiver's route, right? Don't let him run an easy route, right? Just be in his way. Be a gnat in his side. I really like that. So here we are again. And so there's no threat to my receiver. I'm in a zone. I see that there's a guy kind of shooting up, and I need to get there. So really, really good awareness to start getting to where I need to go. Your boy Cade makes a throw. And I obviously didn't have to do anything really special here, but just really good job kind of getting to your spot, knowing where your threats are, and just being where you're supposed to be. Sometimes when you do your job every day, you get a bonus, right? Your boss might throw you a check. This is a check thrown your way. Really like that for Delane. And we're just going to show it from the other angle here. I don't know what Cade's doing, but I love a gimme any chance I can have one. So all in all, I think this is a really physical coverage number 1 type of corner that, again, every team's going to love having. But there really is a concern for me when we talk about this being a team's number 1 corner and a top 10 pick, where I do think closing speed is going to be an issue for him, right? When you want a guy that you can match up against anybody in the NFL, speed cannot be a concern. It just can't. So I think we're going to have that conversation right later to see if you agree with that take, if you think he could be a number 1 corner, and if he should be the first corner taken off the clock.
Ooh, I can't wait. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really interesting pairings in this class when you compare some of the corners here. So we'll get into that in the back half of this episode here. But for now, we're going to wrap it up here with Malik Muhammad, the cornerback out of Texas, our fifth and final player of the episode. So Chris, what do you have on Malik Muhammad?
So Malik is a junior, 6 feet tall, 182 pounds. I don't have much in terms of numbers, but he did run a 4.42 40-yard dash, 1.51 second 10-yard split, 39-inch vert, and 10 foot, 10-inch broad jump. So pretty good numbers for him at the combine.
Damn. Yeah, multiple time transfer in college. But I really like this one. I kind of wanted to make sure that we included him in this episode. And I'm just going to get right into it here. I like to compare him to a cat. We'll talk more about that in a bit in multiple ways. So in any event, top of your screen here, number 5, lined it to the outside, and it seems like a simple kind of just, I'm breaking on a little flare pass here to the receiver. But I want you to watch, if I could time this perfectly right here, and just kind of watch his steps. So Ryan Day and Ohio State have on several occasions run sort of a fake wide receiver screen here, and then the receiver kind of fakes the block and then takes off downfield. So I really like how you watch how Muhammad's actually just kind of waiting to see if the ball is actually being released here. He's actually kind of stalking number 1 here. He's not really looking at the bubble receiver as the intended target. And then once he sees the ball getting released, now he's going to trigger downfield. He's going to take away that outside shoulder. He's just going to kind of do a little bit of block destruction here. So he's not going to make the tackle, but he disrupts number 4 here, Jeremiah Smith, and kind of disrupts the play and gets some help. So still a gain of 5.5, 6 yards, but I think he did a really good job. This is film study. This is knowing your opponent and their tendencies, because they like to run that kind of fake screen and then hit you over the top. They've done that numerous times. So I think he saw that and stayed patient and square until the ball was released. So kind of that attention to detail there. It's not just a ho-hum kind of downhill physical play here. But here we are going to have him as the fourth player to the outside, and he is going to go downhill and just take on the running back head on. They're backed up in their own end zone. You know they're likely just going to hand it off and try to get some breathing room. So he's going to go ahead and stick his nose in there. And he doesn't drive the running back back or anything like that, but he sticks his nose in there and helps make the tackle. So really good play to limit that to about 2 yards or so on the ground. Here we go. Same series. I believe it's now 3rd and 9. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. And this is Carnell Tate, bottom of your screen. And there's a good football here. So he gives up the catch, the comeback for the first down. But I really like the process here yet again. And so again, he's kind of on an island here, off man. He's playing the sticks right here. He's breaking down before the receiver because he wants to drive on the ball here if there's a route to the sticks. Then when there's not, okay, now he kind of gets back into his crossover run. And then Carnell Tate breaks down. It's a phenomenal route by Carnell Tate. But Muhammad is kind of still right there with him. He breaks down too, does a great job mirroring and transitioning for a second time, and then chases downhill. But that's a heck of a throw, nice and high outside of the receiver's frame. It's a great catch by Carnell Tate, and a great job of Carnell Tate kind of shielding the defender away from him to make that catch. This is good coverage. This is a good route, and this is a good throw. This is good football all around. So even though Muhammad gives up the catch, the processing to play the sticks, the athleticism to then transition back into downfield coverage and then back again downhill when Tate finally makes his cut. All three were impressive to me. I think this was great sequencing on this play. So, and we're going to notice another theme here. So this is 3rd and 4. He's just going to kind of stay downhill and try to play those sticks again against Jeremiah Smith. So Smith tries to get physical and out-muscle him there. But again, he's just playing those sticks. He's not worried. He's got a safety over the top, so he's going to get some hands on him and kind of be ready to drive the whole way. He's kind of squatting a bit there and then makes a play on the football. Not a flag. Get out of here with that. Great pass breakup against probably definitely the best receiver in college football, one of the best in America and the world, period, even today while he still has another year left in college. And we're going to just go ahead and run it again. Jeremiah Smith, this is press coverage. Does get out muscled here a little bit, right? 6 foot, 182 pounds. Jeremiah Smith is what? 6'4", 220. This is going to happen to a lot of people against Jeremiah Smith. And he recovers decently well, but notice the difference again in the recovery from Jermod McCoy when he got beat on that quick slant to the inside, when his hips were even locked, compared to someone like Malik Muhammad, who, again, can't quite close quite as quickly and needs some help from his friends. So while he's incredibly quick, he's got that athleticism, the explosive numbers, the triangle numbers are all there for Muhammad, and he is a physical player and kind of, pretty quick downhill. It's not quite elite, but this is a player that's kind of as quick as a cat. I really like him. He can be a bit frenetic at times, but I like the way he plays. He sticks his nose in there. It's just kind of a frisky, physical type of player. I really like the way he plays. I was pleasantly surprised by some of the details and coverage that with which he plays. So this is a really good player. We're going to talk about where we slot him compared to some of the others in this class. But this cornerback class is better than I expected, I think it's safe to say, because of players like Malik Muhammad.
100%. I am so excited to have the next conversation. Okay, we are welcoming in audio-only listeners. If you didn't watch the YouTube video, I highly recommend go to YouTube. We just broke down the top 5, potentially, Ray, cornerbacks in the 2026 NFL draft class. Ray, we had this conversation after the defensive interior episode where we said, like, hey, just because the offense doesn't have the top-notch talent that we're used to doesn't mean this is a bad draft class, right? We saw defensive interior was a lot stronger than we had thought. I think cornerback is even stronger than that group. This is a group of players that I really, really liked, and I'm very excited to talk about them with you. But again, go to YouTube, watch that. But also, whoever's watching, like, subscribe. That's how we continue to make these videos. Please just give us a follow, a like on YouTube, a follow on YouTube. That really helps us. Apple, do the same thing. Android, wherever you're watching or listening, go follow and like this video. It helps us keep creating these types of content. But Ray, let's start at number 5, number 6, maybe, depending on what you think. Who do you have as your 5 or 6? Depending on how many you want to include. I know we only did 5 in the video, and I messed up and was supposed to do a 6th, and we didn't. But let me know.
It's tough for us to get sick sometimes on YouTube. So hopefully the audience will forgive us. We'll talk about the name, and you're probably not going to like this, but my 6 is Pons. It's still D'Angelo Pons. He's my 6.
Dude.
So
Go ahead.
I like
yourself.
I like the player. I said I really like this cornerback class, and it's because someone like D'Angelo Pons is my 6th ranked corner. Because he's a really good player, but he is still 5'9", 175. Regardless of what you say, now he can flip his hips and everything else. It's gonna limit him regardless to the slot potentially. And these teams get creative with big slots and tight ends flexed out a little bit, and he's gonna have some natural trouble. With that said, I think if you recall someone like Desmond King, D'Angelo Pons to me is a far superior prospect to a Desmond King. And for a short while there, Desmond King was among the best slot defenders in the league. I think D'Angelo Pons is like that, but with some staying power, because he does everything so well. When you talk about small corners, you say, well, okay, he's small. He better be quick. He better be physical. He better play like his hair's on fire. He better walk on water and pretty much everything else that he can control, because there's going to be some natural limitations because of his size and length. And D'Angelo Pons pretty much does that. So he's 6 for me just because, again, he can't play everywhere, right? He's kind of scheme specific and just kind of limited, position limited. But I have no problem drafting him on day 2. And I think in all 22, he's going to grade really well because he's going to be asked to do what he's suited to do. And he's a phenomenally consistent football player at that. So really good player, but he's still 6 for me.
It's tough, man. And okay, so I don't blame you. I'm not saying you're wrong for saying what you're saying, but I do think is that the cornerback position is different positions. There's 3 different positions within cornerback, right? And I think if you asked me, how is D'Angelo Pons in terms of a nickel corner, he may be my number 1 of the All-22 era. He may be my favorite nickel corner that I've watched. So that should go to show you how much I think this guy has in terms of potential and what he can do and the skills that he has. I also think he's like an insane athlete, which will elevate him where, if you're 5'9", 173 pounds, and then you have a 30-inch vert, it's going to be much harder and you're going to play at Sacred Heart like I did, right? Like that's, at the end of the day, that's what it means. But when you're this type of athlete, I think it's different. And I just think this kid's really special, where if my team picked him in the 2nd round, I would not be upset by that, because I know that if he's playing nickel corner, we're set for 5 years. Like we're just good. And I think that's super valuable, where some of these corners, while I think they're really talented and I think they're going to be great and better outside corners, I don't know that they're not going to be as sure in their role as Pons will be. So I don't know how to weigh that here, right? You have him at 6. In reality, I think he's my 3, but that's with the knowledge that he has to play within the role that he's given.
Yeah, and I think this provides a really good opportunity, especially for all 22 users, because it's all 22. It's all about how these guys are graded at what they do. And sometimes you kind of get those outside prototype corners on the brain here, and they go first. But meanwhile, someone like D'Angelo Pons is going to grade in the slot higher than most of these guys are on the outside. So you could take advantage of that and pick up some really good value later. But that's exactly right. If he fits a role on your team, if you have a need for this specific role, he's gonna fill that for you and then some, because he is that good of a football player. I just think when you talk about him compared to some other names here, I don't know if you want me to transition into my number 5, but Avion Terrell, 5 for me. I think if you just compare the two, because Terrell has also kind of been labeled as, kind of a slot player, right? Just under 5'11", 186 pounds. But the wingspan, Avion Terrell's got a 6'3.5" wingspan. That's right around the middle 50th percentile for all corners. Whereas someone like D'Angelo Pons is 7th percentile at just over 6 feet, like not even 6'1", right? The arm length, that stuff does matter in some of those tight windows and kind of poking at the ball. That play that we looked at, that sort of deep pass to the tight end on the sideline there, if you got a little bit more length and you can really stick that arm in there and kind of break up that pass, I think you do it. I think when you can't is when you just kind of level up and just throw yourself at a bigger player. If you can make a play on the ball, you will. And those inches matter. So someone like Avion Terrell, to me, yeah, fifth best corner, which to me is still, he's probably a top 40 player on my board. I'm probably a little bit lower than the consensus with that. But I think a lot of the concerns that people have for nickel-only players applies to Terrell, but he's also, similar to Pons, just really good at what he does. I think he gives you a little bit more outside flex because for his size, he does have some better length. But I think people sometimes, he gets a little bit of an AJ Terrell bump. He's not his brother. Like, he's not as big as his brother. He's just, and even his brother, I'm probably lower than the consensus too. I don't have a grudge against the Terrell family. I think they're both phenomenal football players. But to me, Avion Terrell is more of a top of the second round type of player than where I see him going sometimes 20 to 25 range. I think that's just a little bit rich because some of those size limitations are also there. We didn't get to break him down in this episode due to some of our limitations, but some of those same limitations apply to Pons, but to a lesser extent. And he gives you a little bit more inside-outside flex, which is why, to me, I have him ranked higher. So
if I'm reading between the lines, though, it sounds like you have 5 corners as top 40 picks in this draft.
Yeah, that'd be about right. Judging by just the tape, there's some stuff out there around some of these guys that can impact some things. But judging by the tape, these are top 40 talents. Yes.
Okay. Well, and I actually didn't say it before, but I had it written down here. So D'Angelo Pons was 2% for height, 2% for arm length, and 11% for weight. So like we are talking about like bottom of the barrel size, which is something to be concerned about. I still have him at 3, but that's fine. I have Colton Hood as my 6. So Colton Hood out of Tennessee as my 6. And let me just tell you why, right? I understand in a good program, did a lot of really special things, but when I watched the tape, everything seemed a little bit either rounded or like it was losing balance. And the balance wasn't always under him, right? He wasn't fully contained in what he was doing. He overextends himself. He rounds routes. To me, at the next level, that's going to show just that much further, right? That much more. These other guys were a little bit more polished in what they were doing. And to me, that's like the cardinal sin of cornerback is you don't have your physicality, your body, your legs underneath you. And that's going to give separation over and over and over again. And the NFL receivers are going to take advantage of that. Did you even have Hood at 4 or did you have him even lower than that?
So I have Hood as my 3. And I think this goes a little bit into your conversation about there's 3 different cornerback positions, right? You got kind of your field corners, your number 1 type athletic corners. You got your boundary corners who are a bit more physical, can kind of a bit more zone oriented at times. And then you have the slot guys like we discussed. I think when you draft Colton Hood, you're going to put him as boundary. And the lines are blurred a little bit because the NFL is not like college where it's so, the hash marks are so wide that you get some geographic advantages there or geometrical advantages there. Geometrical word, Chris. That's your word of the day. Look it up. But he's that type of player. He's not explosive. And maybe he's a little bit more explosive than I give him credit for because when you watch him right after Jermod McCoy, it just kind of blunts everything. But he's not an explosive player. He is more of just a steady Eddie type of, hey, I'm going to make the sure tackle. I'm not going to get beat deep for the most part, right? If you put me on some of these, Decepticons at receiver, we have one-on-one in the NFL these days. Yeah, probably, but I don't think you're drafting him to do that. So he's very assignment sound, physical, sound tackler. He's safe. He's a very safe player. And at cornerback, sometimes you just got to be safe. But again, don't draft safe and try to pit him against the elites. That's not what he's there for, right? Don't ask your singles hitter to take home run swings. Colton Hood defensively hits singles and doubles, right? He's just going to kind of keep everything, in phase and kind of keep everything on schedule. That's what you're getting with Colton Hood. And I think that's really valuable. And he's got good size. I think what he does well translates very well. You just can't ask him to do, You can't ask him to chase around CeeDee Lamb for an entire afternoon. You can't ask him to do that. That's not the type of archetype player that he is. That's what his running mate was supposed to be in 2025, who we'll talk about a bit later, who didn't get to play in 2025. But I think this is just a good player. Like, you have a 7.75 in everything, right? With maybe like an 8 to 8.5 in kind of zone and route recognition. Nothing elite. It's a good player. That, to me, that's top 40. That's probably top 35.
Wow.
But yeah, don't ask him to be your number one. But if he's your number two, quote unquote, you're in good shape.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I worry a little bit about this guy. I think this is the one guy in this group where I'm saying I don't know if I'm taking him in the second round. Wow. Where most of the other guys I feel really, really good about. But I'm happy to be wrong. Like I said, my favorite players in the draft are ones that I'm wrong about and surprise me. Even on Terrell, I had this.
Yeah, I'll give you one thing too, though. His name is Colton. That's not really a cornerback name, is it? Colton?
No, it's not. It's like a quarterback, like silver spoon kind of guy. Colton.
I wasn't going to say all that, but yeah, sure.
Colton's out there. I apologize.
Yeah, I know why, but go ahead.
Avion Terrell, I had the same kind of concerns and thoughts as you, but I did have him a little bit above Colton Hood. But those two guys are the ones that I have kind of in the same range. And then I'm curious if we have four the same, which is for me, Malik Muhammad out of Texas.
Yeah, Malik Muhammad's my 4. Yeah,
talk about him since you did the film review.
Yeah, I think he's quick as a cat, man. He kind of jumps off the page with how quickly he kind of transitions. He's got really good quickness, slight build, but really good length, which I'm kind of fine with that corner, right? I don't get too bent out of shape if they can't tackle. But wait, he kind of can tackle. He sticks his nose in there. He's kind of got that wiry. I don't even know if it's strength. I'm not sure I'd call him strong. But he's just kind of like, he's like a little dog that doesn't know how little he is. And he just kind of jumps in there with the big dogs and just kind of, just gives them whatever they can handle. That's Malik Muhammad. And so I believe he transferred 2 or 3 times in college. And kind of when you get that, you kind of get some concerns about where's this guy's head at. I kind of went into the tape thinking I was going to see a really undisciplined player, just someone that's kind of, he's flashy, but he takes chances. And that really wasn't the case at all. I think he's got a good feel for the game and, just he's athletic and he knows it. And there's something to that because when if you're the fastest guy in the field, right? If you're used to being the fastest guy in the field, you don't have to go ahead and immediately plant on that very first, move the receiver makes. You don't have to go ahead and sell out. You can make up for it. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold your ground, right? You're going to stay steady, keep yourself within your frame, and then, make plays on the ball once the route or the throw is truly declared. And he does that. So he plays like he knows how athletic he is. And I really like that because that's something that in time, I've come to find that you either have it or you don't. And I think he has it. But he is a bit slight of frame. He can get boxed out at the top of routes. He can get kind of jostled around and lose or rather give up separation because he's out-muscled by some bigger receivers. So I'm not sure if, although he's athletic enough, if he has that type of physical prowess to be a number 1 corner in this league. But damn, he's athletic, he makes plays, and he will stick his nose in there. So I like a lot to his game. I think he needs a little bit more refinement, maybe a little bit, a bit of a strength and conditioning type of gain there in the NFL, and we'll see what he can develop into because he is a young player. But yeah, he just doesn't have that next level physical prowess to really put all the athletic gifts together into a number 1 prototype corner.
So I had him as like a top 40 pick. Didn't have him as a first round guy. We on the same page there?
Yeah, which is weird because I have like probably 3 or 4 corners who are like top 40, but not first round. And, there's always this debate or this dance because, right, I probably have 16 guys graded as first round players, right? There's no 32 first round players. Like, yes, 32 get drafted, but they're not good enough to be called first round players typically. So there's that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I like about Malik is just like, he kind of stands on his grown man stuff. Like, it's like, he might not be the biggest, most talented guy, but he just stands on what he needs to do. And like, I really respect the way that he plays football. So I like that. And I agree with you. I don't think he's a number one corner for a team. He's a really good number two. Like if the Packers drafted this guy again in the second round, I'd be so excited to have him because I think he is an added value to a cornerback room. Right. The final two is, I think, a really difficult decision. And it reminds me of the conversation we had for defensive interior. On one hand, we have a guy that was kind of Mr. Reliable, tried and true, all the talent in the world, but maybe lacks just a little something, leaves a little something to be desired. Then we have this other guy who physically is just incredibly talented, can play perfect football, but missed an entire year of football. How do we make a decision between these two guys? I think I have a clear number one, but I'm going to let you go first and tell me, who do you have at two?
Boy, I tell you what, I go to my doctor and I say, you better tell me that Jermod McCoy's knee is A-okay, or take mine and give it to him, because I have a really hard time saying no to this player. He checks every single box besides tackling, but that's like a half box for me. It's like, it's whatever. Like, it's nice to have. Like, I know it's not whatever. I get it, but he does everything else so incredibly well. That doctor better give me good news, and if he doesn't, I got to take the rest of the day off because I'm just that upset. It all comes down to the doctor. It all comes down to the medicals. But to me, man, I have a really hard time turning him down. Like
So is he your two or your one?
He's my one. He's my one. And you know what? If he ends up being a bust, I could probably sleep at night knowing that I took the player in that scenario that had the better tape. Because if I don't, and he's okay, I broke my process for what? Right? Tape is king at the end of the day, right? So unless he's
especially
hurt,
when the combine numbers back it up.
Yeah. And unless he's hurt and like a criminal, I still got to go with the tape at that point. Unless again, the doctor said, hey, look, no, this is degenerative. Like, no, he needs to be, then fine. But if it's just, hey, he's not 100% yet. And I can't, man, that tape is just too good. It's probably the best I've seen since the 2021 class at corner.
Whoa. Challenge.
Yes.
Red challenge flag. Travis Hunter.
Who? Okay, fine. But yeah, he's like a receiver kind of, but yes, you're right. Don't make me pick between him and Travis Hunter at corner now. I think it's a lot closer than you give it credit for.
No.
Remember, what we just saw was a 19-year-old sophomore.
Yes.
We saw a 19-year-old sophomore. When we watched Travis Hunter his junior year, he was about to turn 21.
Yes.
Different. 2-year difference in the SEC.
No. Travis Hunter was better. Travis Hunter is the best corner prospect I've seen, and it was last year. Saying that, I agree with you. I don't think, I think he's above, in my mind, the Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez guys, and those guys were really good, right? Like, that was a really good class. He's better than Kool-Aid. He's better than that entire class. Terry and Arnold. He's better than all of those guys. Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, Jermod McCoy's tape is just absolutely special, and I'm on board, dude. Like I said with defensive interior, it's like if this guy's injury stuff is okay, he's a top 5 pick for me. Like, I have no problem taking him in this draft in the top 5. And if the knee is, if it comes back, the doctor comes back to him and says, Mr. Lombardi, McCoy's going to be able to play. I think you have 3 years where he's going to be fine. But years 4 and 5 is where I start to get concerned that it's going to start deteriorating. And by year 6, he might be done. I'm still taking him top 15. I'm still like, if I'm not the Jets, Browns, or Titans or Raiders, like, I'm taking this guy in the top, like the Giants, right? Like, even if I'm the Giants, I'm taking them because they've wanted a number one corner for years. They haven't been able to do it. And if you could tell me that you have a 4-year window to win with this guy and he could be a true number one corner for you, give me it. I'll take him. I'll take him in the top 10 and be fine.
So, and maybe this helps us transition a little bit. Are we so certain about taking McCoy first, even while not having seen him play and not knowing for sure if he's 100% back to form, because Mansoor Delane, while we like him a ton and like a lot about what he does, isn't that next level type of prospect where even if we're not talking about Travis Hunter, Patrick Surtain, like he's not even a Christian Gonzalez type of prospect. Is if we had a Christian Gonzalez in this draft class, would we be more open to the idea of, okay, let me not take a chance on McCoy's medicals because, and guys, we have to put aside the hindsight of Christian Gonzalez being like nearly all really pro good at this point. We're just talking about strictly out of college draft prospects. If he was that level because he had that extra bit of athleticism and twitch and just that missing ingredient, would we be more easily swayed to say, all right, someone else could take the risk on McCoy. I'll go ahead and take this next guy. Okay.
Like I get what you're saying. I think I'd still want McCoy. I do, but I would say to you, if my doctor comes back and is like the window's 4 years, then maybe, right? But if my doctor says we think it's good, right? Like I'm telling you that he has doctor's blessing, I'm taking McCoy and I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah. You know me, I typically stay away from the knees, and that's big for me. But regardless of how far medical advancements have become, and that's still a tough choice for me. And there's probably someone screaming at the screen saying, "But he ran a 4.3 and he jumped this high." Yes, that's
show me the lateral stuff. Show me the lateral movements.
Exactly, it's about the lateral, and it's being able to plant on a dime unexpectedly because you're reacting. It's different when you tear your ACL and your MCL. You could squat like 400 pounds in a matter of 90 days. Like that's not, that straight line stuff and heavy weights. That's not where the issue is. The issue is that reactiveness and being able to still have that cat-like sort of reflex and the ability to plant and turn off of that knee, which we saw him do so well on tape. That's not measured in a pro day. And even a pro day workout, that stuff is scripted, man. He knows where he's going to turn. Like, yes, coaches will try to put him in some situations that are a bit uncomfortable, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. And you don't know until the helmet and pads come on and he's lined up against insert number one NFL wide receiver here to see how he does. So It's not about the combine numbers. That's not the question or concern.
No, it's not. And I mean, what I really feel in my heart of hearts is like, if I have a McCoy on my team and he is healthy, there's not a receiver in the NFL that I can't put him against and know that he won't be competitive, right? Now let's transition to Mansoor Delane, who in his own right is a very good cornerback prospect, right? 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, still 22 years old. LSU, great program, 7 career interceptions, 90.5 PFF grade last year. Like, the body's there, the size is there, the technique is there, can play true outside corner. The issue I have with him, right, and I showed this when I did the film review, is I think he plays his best when he's going against physical wide receivers, bigger bodied guys, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they have to be slow, right? He can guard faster receivers, but it's more that he needs guys that he can get a hand on. So I worry about a guy like Devontae Smith, right? Ladd McConkey, in this class, even Carnell Tate. Like I worry about him with more speed route runner type guys that are going to be able to create separation. And is he going to be able to stick with those guys too? Can I trust that I could put Mansoor Delane against any receiver in the NFL and he's going to be able to at least play football with them, right? You said, right, like maybe he's not at the level of a Christian Gonzalez or a Devin Witherspoon, but I think he's a step above a Terrion Arnold, right? And I think when we did Terrion Arnold, we said he's like an end of the first round, early second round guy, and I think that's what he ended up going. Delane is surely going to go before then, right? Like I think he's going to be a top 20 pick because he's the best healthy corner in this class. So I wouldn't be surprised, like you said before, if a team goes, let somebody else take the risk on McCoy, give me the healthy corner that I at least know what he is. I can't do that, right? I'm not going to be that guy. And I also think, right, like it depends on what my team has. If, you looked at the Broncos last year who already had Patrick Surtain, and in the first round, they went corner again. The corner they drafted, I don't think was a corner that would have been taken as a number one corner for another team, but he's a hell of a number two corner. And he ended up not being a number two corner for them. It was just kind of a luxury pick. if you told me there's a team out there that said, I really want to have the best cornerback group in the NFL. I have my number one guy. I want a number two guy where I can mix and match and just be the best, most competitive group in the NFL. Mansoor Delane makes all the sense in the world. But guess what? So does Jermod McCoy, man. Like, so does McCoy. It's really tough for me. I like both of them a lot. But that's definitely McCoy's my one and Delane's my two.
Yeah, I think it has to be, because I think the tape wins out in that comparison. There might also be, I'm talking to people screaming at the screen. There might be another person screaming at the screen, but what about when he went against Jeremiah Smith and he gave up a touchdown to Jeremiah Smith? Yeah, Jermod McCoy gave up a touchdown to Jeremiah Smith. They also tried him 3 more times deep downfield. He blanketed it out and up, forced an out-of-bounds pass. 2 crosses underneath. One, he lost Jeremiah Smith. The other, he did carry him. So, one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith, he was about half and half, which is about as good as you could possibly expect from anybody.
Dude, I'll just say put Patrick Surtain one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith for a game, right? The results might not be that different.
Exactly. So there's that. And because of that, the tape has to win out here unless it's catastrophic, which I don't think is the case, because again, he did do something at his pro day. So to me, I think you have to have him being McCoy as your number one. I will say for Delane, I think he's a little bit in between both of those tiers. I would have him, if I removed hindsight, I'd probably have him right there with Devin Witherspoon. You were higher on Witherspoon than I was, so kudos to you for that one. But I think he's around there where typically, typical draft, Mansoor Delane going 16th, 17th overall, bam. Yeah, that's right where he should, I think, right? He gets probably moved up to top 12, top 10-ish in this class because, again, the only true prototype number one guy has some injury concerns and teams need corners nowadays, so they naturally get a bit bumped up. But I'm okay with it. I think he is a first-round corner, and yeah, he's just very good. Like you kind of said, you kind of summed it up nicely. I don't have much to add there, but again, I think when you talk about Delane versus McCoy, at the end of the day, the tape should win out, and that tape has to go to McCoy and his 2024 film.
Yeah, and so I'm a Packer fan, right? We don't have our first round pick. Second round, I would like us to go corner. Like, I think that's our biggest need, and I would love for us to fill that need with a draft that has – Packers don't do that, right? The draft could be so good at running back. Our running back is our number one need, and we don't go running back. And then the next year, running back could be the worst position in the draft, and we take one early, right? Like, we've done that. Cornerback is really deep this year. Second round is perfect place to go get one. I would love that for us. Cowboys have 2 first-round picks. Do you want one of these corners?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take McCoy regardless, because I think they've been burned by some of the injury. They take injured guys quite a bit. They typically do it in the second round. By and large, there were a couple of bright spots, but they got burned by Jalen Smith. They've been burned by some of these guys. And after what happened with Savone Revel last year, where last season was basically a lost season and they just had the worst cornerback group in the league. Maybe the Bengals were worse. I don't know, but they were pretty terrible. They don't want to risk having to redshirt a player, even though I don't think they would have to with Jermod McCoy. I think they want to stay away from that. So if McCoy is not gone in the top 11, which he might not be, I'm not so sure he goes at 12. And in that scenario, Delane might go ahead of him. It would not shock me if Delane goes ahead of him. At that point, you have to believe that these doctors are saying something and these teams are just trying to be risk averse, because you can't look at the two side by side and come to any other conclusion besides McCoy being the superior prospect. And again, that injury happened December 2025 or January 2025, excuse me. It's been, by the time the season rolls around, it's going to be 20 months post-surgery. If he's not ready to go at that point, then something is legitimately wrong. Right. Because looking from the outside in, hey, you're almost 2 years out from your injury. You got to be ready to go at that point. So, I think time will tell in that respect. But from what we know here and what we see, McCoy should go first, but he might not. It wouldn't be terribly surprising.
People, that was called a politician's answer. Ray, do you want the Cowboys to draft?
Oh, I'm mad they're not going to draft him. I'm mad they're not going to draft him. I'm
in
mad
the first round. Do you want the Cowboys to take a cornerback in the first round?
Oh yeah. Give me Delane. I'll be happy. Okay. That's fine with me. We need competence, man. Just get it through the. And I do think Savone Revel, again, he had a bit of a setback in his rehab, whatever, and his timeline was a bit shorter than McCoy's was at this point. But I do think they complement each other pretty well. Revel is at 6'3", kind of prototype long arm build, kind of explosive linear type of athlete, whereas Delane is more of that sort of complementary, not as explosive, but sound player, who does a lot of things really well, but you might not want lining up against those prototype number ones. I think they can play off each other pretty well. So I think that'd be a fine pick if that ends up being the pick. I think that'd be a-okay. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't consider that a reach at 12, even though, like I said, ideally, Delane probably goes somewhere 15, 16, 17 most years. 12 is fine. I'm fine with that, especially given the cornerback position and its value.
All right, man. Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X at all22_PFF, and give us a review wherever you watch or listen to your podcasts. And have a great rest of your day.